What happens when a guy already stuffing the stat sheet with 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists decides that still isn't enough? For the rest of the league, it means one thing: panic time. Luka Doncic slices through the lane, lays it in, and the crowd goes wild. But here's the thing. This isn't about the usual Luka brilliance we've all come to expect. Not the step-back threes, not the impossible passes, not the magician tricks he makes look routine. For years, the one knock on Luka was simple: his body, the conditioning, the shape he came into seasons with. And this summer, Luka finally decided he was done being the punchline. Every joke, every analyst calling him out, every fan meme, he heard it. And instead of brushing it off, he went to work. Now he's slimmer, quicker, stronger, and most importantly, he's playing like a man with something to prove. And when a generational talent gets motivated like that, the entire NBA better take cover. Think back to February 2025. The Mavericks did the unthinkable. They actually traded Luka Doncic right before the deadline. The entire NBA world stopped in shock. A player like that? Gone? And people kept asking why. This was the guy with 5 first-team All-NBA selections in just 6 years. The guy who dragged a flawed Dallas roster to the West Finals in 2022, then carried a completely retooled team all the way to the NBA Finals just 2 seasons later. Dallas had built everything around him, and then flipped the script. Step-back three, money. Luka was built for the big stage, but suddenly he was gone. The reason? Whispers about conditioning, concerns about whether his body could survive the grind. And those whispers weren't new. Back in 2020, Luka admitted he wasn't in shape. By 2021, national TV was pointing out his weight. By 2023, the Mavericks front office straight up told him, drop pounds. But Luka's weight was like a roller coaster. Insiders said it sometimes shot up near 270, way over his listed playing weight. And while he was still putting up numbers that made him look unstoppable, the cracks were showing. By the 2023-24 finals, Luka was taking injections just to get through games. Every night ended with ice bags, covering his knees, calves, and ankles. Then came Christmas 2024, the calf strain. 19 games missed, the longest absence of his career. That might have been the final straw. Weeks later, Dallas shocked the world. They shipped him to the Lakers. And suddenly, the story shifted. It wasn't just about his durability. Rumors swirled about his off-court habits too. The late nights, the diet, the beer and hookah photos. And just like that, Dallas moved on from the face of their franchise. When Luka landed in Los Angeles, the hype was unreal. Lakers fans thought they just pulled off the heist of the decade. But reality hit fast. Luka hadn't played in over a month when the deal went down, and when he finally suited up, you could see it. He looked heavier, slower, carrying more than just extra weight. He was carrying the stress of being yanked mid-season from the only NBA home he'd ever known. Imagine it. One day, you're the face of Dallas. The next, you're packing up your young family, learning a brand new playbook, and walking into a locker room full of strangers. That's not just basketball. That's life turned upside down. And yet, Luka still put up Luka numbers. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists a night. On paper, business as usual. But if you watch closely, something was off. The chemistry wasn't clicking. The energy wasn't the same. And those Luka box scores weren't translating into wins when the Lakers needed them most. Then came the playoffs, a first-round matchup with the Timberwolves. And what happened? Disaster. The Lakers got run off the court in 5 games by a younger, hungrier, more athletic squad. Luka still made plays, but for the first time, it wasn't enough. His defense got exposed. His legs looked heavy in crunch time. And in the bright spotlight of the postseason, you could see it clear as day. The conditioning issues weren't just a storyline anymore. They were real. For years, Luka had been able to shrug off those criticisms because his skill was so overwhelming. Step backs, cross-court dimes, impossible finishes, all of it masked the fact that he wasn't built like the typical NBA superstar physically. But in 2024, all of that finally caught up to him. The calf injury at Christmas, the trade to LA, then the first-round collapse. It was the kind of sequence that makes even a superstar's critics sound right. And the backlash was brutal. Media, fans, even former players, they all piled on. Out of shape, bad defense, wasting his prime, not taking care of his body. For the first time in his career, the conversation wasn't just about how good Luka was, it was about how much longer he could stay that good. And Luka heard every single word. But instead of sulking, instead of blaming the front office, instead of retreating into excuses, he did something else. He got to work. The morning after the Lakers' playoff exit, Luka didn't ask for a vacation, didn't ask for time to clear his head. He looked at his manager and said one thing: I want to train. For Luka, this offseason wasn't just another summer. It was the reset button his career desperately needed. For the first time in years, he had 4 full months to rebuild himself from the ground up. No deep playoff run, no non-stop international schedule. Just time, and he was determined to use it. Enter Team Luka, a group of trainers, nutritionists, and recovery experts dedicated to one mission: transforming his body to finally match his talent. They tore apart his old habits, rewired his workouts, and attacked the weaknesses that had held him back. The first step: rest. Luka didn't even touch a basketball for weeks. Instead, he focused on healing years of wear and tear. Paddleball, pickleball, sports that gave him competition without the pounding of an NBA season. It was about resetting his body and his mind. Then came the grind. Brutal 2-a-day workouts designed to push his limits. 1-minute resistance bands strapped to his waist as he powers through layups. The next, hammering through strength circuits. Hip stretches, rows, lunges, all at high intensity, no breaks. Every rep had a purpose: rebuild stamina, sharpen explosiveness, and finally eliminate that late game fatigue that haunted him in the playoffs. But this wasn't just about strength. Team Luka zeroed in on what makes him special: his stop-and-start game. Luka doesn't kill you with raw speed. He kills you with timing. He'll lull you to sleep, then stop on a dime while you slide helplessly past. That step back, that hesitation, it all depends on his ability to decelerate. So his trainers built entire drills around balance and control. Resistance bands pulling him off balance, forcing his ankles and quads to stabilize on the fly, training his body to absorb punishment without breaking down. And then there was conditioning. Luka hit the track for hurdle sprints, hammering his lungs, testing his legs, building endurance he'd never had before. Then back to the court, jumper after jumper, simulating game speed while drenched in sweat. The results? Impossible to ignore. Social media lit up when photos of Luka's slimmed-down frame surfaced. But the real shocker came when he popped up on the cover of Men's Health, looking like a completely different athlete, not just in shape, the best shape of his life. And it wasn't just camera tricks. Luka overhauled everything. He cut out the beer and late-night habits, shifted to a strict intermittent fasting routine, locked in on high-protein, low-sugar meals, 5 chicken breasts a day, no junk, no shortcuts, just clean fuel for a rebuilt machine. The Luka we saw in past summers, gone. This wasn't coasting. This wasn't half-committed. This was a man on a mission. By the time training camp rolled around, it was clear this wasn't the same Luka Doncic. The dad bod jokes, dead. The lazy defense criticisms, fading. What the Lakers had now was a superstar in the best shape of his life, locked in like never before. And the timing couldn't be better. Remember, last season a heavier Luka and a 40-year-old LeBron still dragged the Lakers to the 3rd seed in the West. Now imagine that same duo with Luka lighter, sharper, and conditioned to actually last the full grind. That's not just scary, that's unfair. Already Vegas has him sitting 3rd on the MVP odds board, right behind Jokic and Shai. If he stays healthy, don't be surprised if that gap closes fast. Because the truth is, even with all the weight and fatigue issues, Luka was still a top 5 player in the world. Now, with stamina, vertical pop, and defense added back into the mix, we might finally be looking at the unstoppable version everyone always imagined. And it's not just hype. The skills haven't gone anywhere. He's still got the filthy footwork in the post, the no-look dimes that cut defenses open, the head fakes, Euro steps, and step-back threes that make defenders look helpless. Only difference now, he can do it longer, he can do it fresher, and he can finally hold his own on the defensive end. For the Mavericks, trading him away might end up being one of the biggest mistakes in franchise history, because the man they shipped out for conditioning concerns is suddenly in peak condition, and he's wearing purple and gold. That doesn't just haunt Dallas, that haunts the entire league. So here's the question. Are we about to witness Luka's true prime, an MVP season, maybe even another deep playoff run, this time with the Lakers? One thing's for sure, Luka Doncic has always been a problem. But this new version, this might be the final form. So what do you think? Is Luka about to take over the league, or will all this hype crash back down to earth? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Because this season, we're just getting started.